And welcome to the Hot Seat of College Football Show. I am Trent, your host, as today we are going to be talking about Ohio State's projected wide receiver depth chart going into the 2026 season. Let's talk about it. Alright, so before we get into this video, guys, thank you so much for getting me to 120 subscribers. We're trying to get to 130 before Valentine's Day, which gives us around 3 weeks. So if you want to be one of the 10 people that subscribes, that would be awesome and would mean the world to me. Also, remember to hit the like button. That is how YouTube promotes the show, and it really just shows me that you guys are enjoying the shows and all the feedback and stuff. And also, leave a comment down below. Who do you think is going to be starting on Ohio State's wide receiver room? Is it going to be Chris Henry Jr. over someone like Devin McKeown or Kyle Parker? You'll see on the graphic I made what I think about it, but always remember to leave comments down below. And also, if you want to get a notification every single time I release a new video, turn on the notification bell so you get a notification every single time I drop a new video. So yeah, let's get into it. I made a graphic for this. Here is my projected Ohio State 2026 to 2027 wide receiver depth chart. In the past couple weeks, this has seen a lot of change, which guys coming in, guys leaving. Obviously, the three big exits being Carnell Tate to the draft, Mylan Graham and Quincy Porter, both former 5-stars underclassmen. They both transferred to Notre Dame. So 2 or 3 really big losses coming in to this season. We obviously knew Carnell was going to leave, but Mylan Graham was weak. I kind of thought Mylan Graham was going to leave, but not Quincy Porter. I thought Quincy Porter would be a starter on this team. So him leaving really opened the door to, okay, finally Ohio State for the first time ever is going to bring in a wide receiver transfer. And that's what we saw happen with Devin McKeown, the wide receiver from UTSA, and Kyle Parker, the wide receiver from LSU. That Cortez Hankman, the new Ohio State wide receivers coach, as Brian Hartline has gone to USF. I made a video about Brian Hartline leaving if you wanted to see that. It's somewhere on the channel if you scroll down. But yeah, there's a lot of new faces. So let's start off with the X, because I think the X is the most certain. Actually, I'll explain what all these terms mean. So the X receiver is always going to be your wide receiver one. That is your Tyreek Hills, your Jamar Chases, your Justin Jeffersons, and your Jeremiah Smiths. This is going to be the guy usually on the left side of the field, all the way out wide. Your Z receiver is your guy who is usually on the other side of the field, or right next to the X. That was your Carnell Tates, your Emeka Abukas, and I guess your who was it this past? I guess it was Carnell Tate. You can usually see, sometimes you would see Carnell Tate. Sometimes he's on the opposite side of the field than Jeremiah. Sometimes he's right next to Jeremiah. Your Y receiver, which it's kind of cut off at the bottom, but that is your usually it can be a tight end. Kind of like the F. It's kind of like a hybrid. It's usually on the inside. Could also be a slot sometimes. And then your slot receiver is the guy in the slot, usually next to a tight end or next to a tackle. So that's kind of what all the terms mean, but we're just going to go wide receiver 1, 2, and 3. Then we have a gadget. We'll talk about the gadget at the bottom. So yeah, starting off with one of the most probably certain wide receivers for this team, Jeremiah Smith. He's going to be the X. And coming into this year, his backup was Mylan Graham, and Quincy Porter would maybe come in for Carnell Tate. Sometimes he would come in for Jeremiah. And with those two leaving, that leaves a big gap where if Jeremiah gets hurt or if he's off the field for a couple plays or he's not playing in the game, who's going to be behind him? And behind him, these ones are a little bit, you could really move these around because some of them are freshmen or incoming freshmen or true sophomores. So I had Phillip Bell. He didn't play at all this season. But a lot of the freshman guys, a lot of them are a lot smaller, where they're going to be falling into the categories of the slot or the 2. But I also have Brock Boyd, the exciting white boy coming in for Ohio State this up and coming year. He is fast. He is fast. I'm excited for him. I hope we see him play. One of the complaints for Brian Hartline was that he never rotated receivers. That's why we saw guys like Mylan Graham and Quincy Porter leave. I will say with Quincy Porter, he left because he wanted to be the wide receiver one, which is funny because he's a freshman this year, which means he was being recruited during Jeremiah's freshman year. So he knew throughout most of his entire career until maybe his last year here or his senior year, he was never going to be wide receiver one. So I have no idea why he came here, but I don't know. But he's gone now. So yeah, Phillip Bell and Brock Boyd behind him. Two guys, it's going to be a true freshman and a true sophomore that have never played before, or I guess a redshirt freshman. I don't know if they redshirted Phillip Bell, but they're going to be two incoming freshmen, or I guess an incoming freshman and then a true sophomore, but both have never played. Both have never played a snap of collegiate football or had any receptions in college. So it's going to be a little bit of a question, but you also, I mean, how many snaps do you think Jeremiah is going to be off the field? And if he is, they're going to slot in one of these other guys in. You know what I mean? So really, it's Jeremiah at the X and then no one really behind him. But if he's off the field, like, you know what I mean? It's not going to be a very... Like, you're not going to get very many snaps or receptions behind Jeremiah. The wide receiver 2, this is the big one, and this is the one everyone's wondering, is who's going to be starting at the Z, or the wide receiver 2. Who's going to replace Carnell Tate? Who's going to, Carnell Tate replaced Emeka Ibuka. Who's going to replace Carnell Tate? Is it going to be Devin McKeown? Is it going to be Chris Henry Jr.? Is it going to be Kyle Parker? Right now, since Kyle Parker played a lot in the slot at LSU, and it was Cortez Hankman was one of his guys, I think he's going to play Kyle Parker where he was at LSU just because that's where he was before. The thing is, Kyle Parker won't be starting above Brandon Innes, so maybe you'll see Kyle Parker at the wide receiver 2 spot. But for right now, I think it's a two-man race between Devin McKeown and Chris Henry Jr. Look, my thing with Chris Henry Jr., I know everyone wants Chris Henry Jr. to start just because look what happened after the last time we got a wide receiver 1. Jeremiah Smith instantly started. He was wide receiver 2 behind Emeka Ibuka, then quickly became that wide receiver 1. But with Chris Henry Jr., I mean, remember Devin Sanchez coming into this year? It's, hey, we got this 5-star number 1 corner. And then we're all like, whenever Devin Sanchez is on the field, it's like, well, I don't want him on the field. I want Lorenzo. And that's why we saw Devin Sanchez replace Jermaine. And then when Lorenzo was out, Jermaine would go to the slot and they would put Devin Sanchez out wide with Igbinosun because they didn't trust him. So again, Jeremiah has ruined all other freshmen because I don't think Chris Henry Jr. is going to come here and be like, hey, he's going to start right away. Do I think he could start later in the season? Yes, especially at that wide receiver 4, especially if we're going to do 4 wide receivers, or if Jeremiah goes down, or Devin McKeown goes down, or Brandon Innes goes down. I do think Chris Henry Jr. is going to see the field, just because I think he is the 4th option, and he could even be the 3rd option. I'm just projecting him to be behind Devin McKeown because Devin McKeown has had actual production. You look at him at UTSA, 65 receptions, 726 yards, 8 touchdowns, 11.2 on average. He's a junior, 6 foot, 195. Yes, he does not have the size as Chris Henry Jr., as I think Chris Henry is 6'5". He's a big wide receiver, but Devin McKeown is fast. He is fast. And I think for at least during the beginning of the season, I think that Ball State game at the beginning of the year is really going to mean a lot when it comes to, okay, we're going at Texas. Do we want Devin McKeown or do we want Chris Henry Jr.? I think we're going to see a lot of rotation between those guys in that first game to get preparation for the Texas game. And obviously, a lot of it will come in during fall camp and, spring. But I think for right now, at least, I do think Devin McKeown is going to start over Chris Henry Jr. And then behind him is your Quaden Guilford. Again, for a lot of these freshmen, you can move them all around the place. But I've seen a lot of other people put Jaquan Guilford at Z, so I'll just throw him there for now. I don't really think he's going to play slot. Slot, I actually think, is also super interesting because you're going to have Brandon Innes and Kyle Parker. I think Kyle Parker is better than Brandon Innes, which is why I think you're like, oh, well, then throw Kyle Parker at the Z. The problem with that is Kyle Parker is only 5'11", 31 receptions, 330 yards, 4 touchdowns, 10.6 on average. LSU was very upset to lose this guy. This is one of the guys that they really wanted to retain, but he's only 5'11", and we're just coming off of a season where we had a 6'3" Carnell Tate. We're going to have a 6-foot Devin McKeown and potentially a 6'5" Chris Henry Jr. come in. I don't think you want to put Kyle Parker at the Z. And actually, let me see how tall Brandon Inniss is. I think he's 6'1", right? Or 6 foot. He is 6 foot. So Kyle Parker, I think, is the perfect size and the perfect speed for a slot receiver. Kyle Parker is a sophomore, so he'll have another year of eligibility if he wants to come back coming into this next year. But the problem is Brandon Inniss, he's a senior, he's a returning captain. If you look at Brandon Inniss' stats from last year, I mean, he wasn't great, but he was very clutch when you needed him to be. 36 receptions, 271 and 3 touchdowns, 7.5 on average. For as much hate as he was getting for that one fumbled snap or the fumbled punt at Washington, he would catch and take hits. That was something that we saw Carnell Tate not do against Miami. That's something we saw Brandon Inniss do time and time again. He will take hits. He is a captain. I don't know if he'll be a returning captain. It's very rare that we see captains that aren't seniors. But like, I mean, Caleb Downs left. Usually the captains that are juniors usually leave. So yeah, like Austin Sareveld, he's coming back. Is he gonna be a captain again? Brandon Inniss, he's gonna be captain again. Caleb left, and then Sonny left. If we're talking about captains, I think Austin will be, and I think Brandon Inniss will be. I would also probably think Jeremiah will be a captain, and then I don't think Julian's going to be. Jermaine will probably also be a captain, so that's probably gonna be your 4. But yeah, I look, if you have a senior Brandon Inniss come back and then you kind of put him back down, you kind of like, hey, you came back and hey, you're not going to start anymore. That's kind of, especially after having a decent season and being reliable. So I don't know. So look, I know it's not Brian Hartline, but I think it's still going to be under Day's regime. I think Kyle Parker is not going to start over Brandon Inniss. I really like Kyle Parker. When push comes to shove, and it's like, okay, Kyle Parker is leagues better, maybe we'll see more rotation. And especially with Max Clare leaving, yes, you have Hunter Welsing and Nate Roberts, and you have tight ends, but I think we could see 4 wide receivers a lot more often, where it's Jeremiah, Devin McKeown, Brandon Inniss, and then a Kyle Parker or Chris Henry Jr. So I think we could definitely see that. And then the other one is Desi Jones. So again, one of those freshmen who's never really played. Then the gadget receiver, this is going to be a guy that can be running back, slot receiver, and that's Legend Bay. And Legend Bay has had a wild recruiting story. And if you don't know it, just go look it up on YouTube. I'm not going to get into his whole recruiting story now, but I think Legend Bay will be the gadget receiver. How often we're going to see a gadget receiver, it depends on which offensive coordinator we get. Like if you hire from within, you're never going to see the gadget. If you hire a proven guy that's like older than Ryan Day, that's been doing it longer than Ryan Day, that Ryan Day can trust, kind of like Chip Kelly, then I think we could see it. But like a guy like Brian Hartline, who's younger, hasn't done it. Day has full authority over him. Don't think we're going to see it much. I could definitely see Legend Bay transfer after this year, maybe even go back to Tennessee. But yeah, this is my projected wide receiver depth chart. If you have not subscribed, please do. We're trying to get to 130. But again, that is all I have for you guys today. Make sure to hit the like button. That's how YouTube promotes the show. And leave a comment down below. Who do you think is going to start at the Z? Is it going to be Chris Henry Jr.? Is it going to be Kyle Parker? Is it going to be Devin McKeown? And obviously, I have no concerns for the wide receivers, but are we going to see another receiver like Carnell Tate, like an Emeka Ibuka, a true wide receiver 1 that's a wide receiver 2? But again, that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you guys all enjoyed watching. I will see you guys all tomorrow, and as always, thank you.